Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me Swastika again, and today we would be going through the current affairs for July 13th. But before we move on, let me just tell you a little about myself. I have done my masters in political science from Jawaharlal Nehru University. I have done my BA honors in political science from Delhi University. And if you like my content, it'll be great if you could press the subscribe button. Moving on, today we are going to discuss three things. One is an article on the editorial page. This is the middle article and it's the biggest one. We are going to go through this. The second one we are going to go through is an editorial on solar energy and how there is a deficit that India is failing to meet. And lastly, we would be discussing some short clips of short news. So in totality, this is going to be very precise, very short and very to the point. So this the first article is written by Vijay Gokhale, who is a former Foreign Secretary of India and a former ambassador to Germany and to China. So this is basically this page, this one that we are doing. I have made some short notes, so let's start off. So European Union comprises of 35% of the global GDP in PPP terms. This has been stated by the Global Office of International Comparison Program at World Bank. EU has supported Chinese membership in WTO and China has supported the European project. So basically, European Union and China have been partners. They have been cooperative partners with each other. Yet at the same time, they are economic competitors because so earlier and historically, China has always shown support for EU and EU has shown support for China. So in 1995 to from 1995 to 2012, Germany enhanced its industrial value by 37%, and the consequences of that we see even today. Germany being one of the strongest economies in economic. Germany being one of the strongest economies in the European Union, and that is primarily because the largest chunk of the investment and manufacturing came from China. So European Union and China have had good relations. They have acted as cooperative partners and as economic competitors, as I have mentioned. Yet there have been some red flags which have been raised. This has primarily been because of China's clumsy efforts to use confusion inside Europe to their propaganda advantage. China's efforts to cultivate separate European sub-constituencies like the 16 plus 1 format with the Central and Eastern European states and meetings with Nordics and Southern Europeans, the sailing of the PLA Navy into the Baltic Sea for joint exercises with Russia in 2017, cross-sectoral hybrid threats including information operations in European countries, Chinese behavior in South China Sea and the Indian Ocean, and its targeted acquisition of key high technology companies such as KUKA in Germany or key ports like Piraeus in Greece began to raise red flags in the chancelleries of Europe. So basically, China has always had a very aggressive expansionist policy, and that sort of has manifested in terms of all the actions I have mentioned right now. Perhaps for India, in India and Hong Kong, we have seen false China falsely claiming the border, and as we have already seen happening for the last 20 days, and historically, of course, China's aggressive actions in the South China Sea has and them completely refusing to listen to the Permanent Court of Arbitration and completely refusing to listen to UNCLOs is basically just a manifestation of that aggressive foreign policy. So because of this, certain red flags have been raised, and EU's relationship with China is simultaneously challenging as well as strategically important. It is strategically important, and this is the dilemma that exists. The dilemma for European Union exists because China provides a great strategic advantage. It provides, yeah, but at the same point in time, it's challenging because they are very aggressive in terms of their policy and some of the things that I have mentioned. So the determinant now has changed. It has become that EU has now begun to turn towards how to balance economic codependency and co-prosperity with China's strategic global intentions and efforts to seek military supremacy. So EU is just trying to balance and to reach an economic codependency and co-prosperity with China's strategic global intentions and efforts to seek military supremacy. In the trinity of determinants identified by EU in March 2019, namely partner, competitor, and systemic rival, the last dimension is gradually becoming the dominant political narrative. So they are basically becoming systemic rivals instead of actually being, partners as they have been. So the problem is that China is actually in a position to invest more than USA, which makes China a very strategic partner for the European Union. But that comes along with its baggage because of a lot of issues that I have mentioned, right? So the post-pandemic sentiments, EU is to follow US into decoupling with China. So as we can see, this is happening. USA is trying to reduce its import dependency on China, and EU is set to follow suit. We're hoping that Xi Jinping will use the pandemic to make fundamental reforms in the way that Deng Xiaoping and Zhu Rongji did in 1992 and 1998 respectively. Europe now feels the need to diversify its business away from the over-reliance on any one market. So they are looking for other investment spaces. They want to decouple from China and they want to look for other investment spaces, and they want to diversify and not rely on just one market that much. So this basically opens up space for India, because India has always promoted peace and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region, and the Europeans are sort of aware of that. So if the broad-based trade and investment agreement can be put on track, or if we could conclude a new investment agreement, and if we are ready to join in the high technology collaboration between 5G and artificial intelligence, we may be able to align our stars. So this is the perfect time, the post-pandemic time is the perfect time for India to sort of take the vacuum that has been left, that is going to be left by China, and and the European Union already sees a great potential of us being in a position to work with them, and it will be great if this could manifest in a similar fashion. So post COVID is the opportunity for India-US relationship to prosper. Moving on, this is the article, this is the editorial, this is the top left one, this one that we are going to discuss. So this basically says that is in context of the recent photovoltaic project that has been inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So this is 750 MW photovoltaic project. And so this, by doing this, we are basically trying to achieve greater self-reliance in industrialization and in solar power. So this is inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and in Rewa. But there are certain issues with it, certain deficits that we are going to address. So the first thing is that the India's installed base for this project is 35 gigawatts, right? Its project addition of capacity until 2024 is estimated to be around 50 gigawatts. So this is the installed base. The problem arises because in the Paris Agreement we said that we would try to become completely reliant on renewable sources of energy like solar power, and we would have a 100 gigawatt project. Yet by 2024, as per the present status quo, we are only seeing a 50 gigawatt project. So there is a deficit that is in place. So we still fall short of goals set in Paris Agreement on the climate for installing a 100 gigawatt of solar power by 2020, and we still fall short. Why? This is because we have a low domestic manufacturing and a high reliance on China. So this is again, China is something that comes up every time I open the newspaper, and it's important because a lot of the things they are controlling for us. So there are two problems and two reasons as to why we are not in a position to address the deficit. And the first one of them is that we have a very low domestic manufacturing, and because of that we are heavily reliant on China. So when we study the Chinese case, we know that their story is one of a steady rise from insignificant manufacturing capability in the 1990s to virtual dominance through active government support in identifying and acquiring top technologies globally, importing critical raw materials such as polysilicon, acquiring social manufacturers abroad, and investing in third countries with ready capability. Importantly, the domestic market was treated with great importance while promoting exports. So this basically means that if we are to compete, so China came from a country that was insignificant in manufacturing, yet today they have been in a position to herald themselves into becoming one of the biggest space of manufacturing. So what India needs right now is a high ambition and an aggressive official policy. So what can we do? This pandemic presents us with an opportunity to plant a green deal along the lines of what EU has committed itself to. Future growth and development must align itself to environmental sustainability objectives. The key requirement is integrated policies fully supported by the states. Emerging trends in solar energy such as roof tiles, aesthetic photo windows, etc. need to be looked into. But what we most importantly need is more manufacturing, and for us to reduce our dependence on China. Only then can we move along the lines of what EU is moving forward on by envisioning a future growth and development that is in line with the environmental objectives. So moving on, this was there in the short news today. So China and Iran have drafted sweeping economic and security partnership that would clear way for billions of dollars of Chinese investment, which undercuts Trump's efforts at isolating Iran. So we know that US and Iran have been fighting with each other since Trump came, I feel, and that primarily is because Iran is a nuclear power and they have nuclear machinery at hand that is in all that can go haywire, right? So China and Iran are basically drafting a sweeping economic security partnership that would clear billions of dollars of Chinese investment, which undercuts Trump's efforts. Trump has increasingly been trying to isolate Iran, and because USA and China are at like a trade war with each other, so China is increasingly trying to support Iran, and because Iran basically is finding itself in a bottleneck. They're finding themselves in a bottleneck because of the sanctions that have been imposed by USA, and which includes a threat to cut off international banking system to any country that does business with Iran, and this is completely suffocating Iran's economy. So Iran has been pushed into the hands of China, and we see that Iran's oil exports, Iran is one of the largest producers of oil, have plunged since Trump imposed the sanctions. So basically China and USA are at war with each other, at a trade war with each other, and USA is trying to isolate Iran. So obviously China is going to Iran and is trying to invest with them greatly, because USA has pushed Iran into a economic bottleneck from which it cannot escape, and the prices of oil have plunged, and because Iran's economy is basically based on the production and export of oil, that is very problematic for them. So this is the entire crux of the matter. Thank you for listening to me. If you like my content, it'll be amazing if you could press the subscribe button and like, and if you have any problems you can comment them below. I am willing to take up as many doubts in the comment section, and I will reply to all of them individually. You can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is Romig Polar Cats. So thank you for listening to me.